New overnight, a man now facing charges after Tuesday night's officer-involved shooting in North Little Rock.
Channel 7's Elizabeth Armstrong live with what we know about the suspect's arrests and what he says about the officers who fired shots. Good morning, Elizabeth.
Good morning, Allison and Chris. Overnight, we learned police arrested Irvin Russell Fuller. He's a 59-year-old from Conway. Take a look at his mugshot on your screen right now. He's charged with 6 counts of aggravated assault and 1 count of terroristic threatening after firing multiple shots into an apartment on Palm Street. 2 adults and 2 children were living in the apartment at the time. This morning, Fuller is here at the Pulaski County Detention Center. This all started Tuesday night when officers were called to apartment 12 of Hemlock Courts. When they got there, they heard a gunshot and found Fuller at his car. Police say when they approached him, he reached for his shotgun, so officers fired 4 shots, hitting him in the neck and face area. He was taken to UAMS for treatment. But Fuller is telling police he was not reaching for his gun. He says when he was ordered to get out of the car, he was fairly sure it was a police officer, but he wasn't certain. He says he was actually turning around to reach for his cane. But Officer Christopher Brown says he clearly saw Fuller trying to pull up a long gun from the back seat and advised his backup officer yelling about the rifle. Officer Brown says he feared for his life, which is why he fired shots at Fuller. This morning, Fuller will make his first appearance in a North Little Rock court. Be sure to stick with Channel 7 throughout the day for updates on this case. And be sure to stick with Daybreak coming up at 6. We'll talk about Fuller's motive for firing into the apartment. Allison, back to you.
Elizabeth, thank you. A Texarkana veteran firefighter now facing charges of aggravated assault for a sexual assault of a child. Captain David Michael Aiken with the Arkansas Side Fire Department surrendered yesterday morning at the Bowie County Sheriff's Department. Sheriff's officials say the victim is a 5-year-old girl and that Aiken's daughter was babysitting her at the time. According to a statement by the child's mother in the police report, the girl got a sexually transmitted disease from Aiken, which has since been cleared up. Aiken has been with the fire department for 23 years. Little
Rock police releasing new details about a homicide at the Eagle Hill Apartments that they say started as a robbery. When police arrived at the complex Tuesday night, they found 18-year-old Alexander Reed fatally wounded inside of an apartment. Well, there were also 3 tenants inside, ages 18 to 21, suffering from gunshot wounds. Police say that the deceased victim was the person who they believe organized the robbery. Shortly after, Little Rock police began their investigation. They received a call from the Pine Bluff Police Department that led to a suspect.
We received the call from the Pine Bluff Police Department that we had an individual down there that was shot, and we were able to get his information and then talk to the people inside the apartment complex that were shot, and we have linked him as being involved in this case.
That suspect has been identified as 21-year-old Alvin Chafin. He was shot in the hand and went to a Pine Bluff hospital. He is now in custody and charges against him are pending. Police say that they're still looking for other suspects possibly involved.
Wines produced out of state may soon be hitting the grocery store shelves. Currently, state law only allows Arkansas-produced wines to be sold there, but a new Senate bill would allow stores to sell any wines. The owners of Legacy Wine and Spirits are flashing this sign saying vote no, while other liquor stores say they are worried about price competition and how it could affect their purchasing power.
We are not allowed to store outside of the premises. And so with the size of our store, it's kind of small, so we can only buy it from case to case to be able to provide different wines. And so for that reason, we can't buy as in a bulk like Sam's, Walmart, Kroger.
The Arkansas Beverage Retailers Association, who fought a similar bill in the last session, has decided to remain neutral this time. The current bill has already passed the Senate and now heads to the House.
This morning, family members say the 8-year-old daughter of Jamie Lynn Spears is doing better following an ATV accident over the weekend. The niece of Britney Spears accidentally crashed into a pond while driving the ATV on her family's property in Louisiana. She was being supervised by adults at the time. While rules for riding vary across the nation, here in Arkansas, the law says children under 12 must be supervised while operating ATVs. That brings us to our poll question today. How old do you think a child should be when operating an ATV by themselves? You can head over to our Facebook and Twitter page this morning to vote. And we'll check those results coming up a little bit later on Daybreak.
More than 2 years after the kidnapping and murder of local realtor Beverly Carter, an organization has been created in her name to help protect real estate agents on the job. 50-year-old Carter was abducted and killed in 2014 by a man she thought was a potential client. Her son, Carl Carter Jr., has now created the Beverly Carter Foundation, a nonprofit organization aimed at protecting realtors. The organization will focus on providing free programs to realtors, including safety seminars.
New this morning, the city of Jonesboro is adding a new retention pond to reduce flooding in the area. The new addition going in the same area where a teen fell into floodwaters and was swept into a drainage ditch during a rainstorm last May. Neighbors in that area say the flooding has been bad over the past 2 years, sometimes reaching front porches from the street. The Jonesboro City website says right now they're working on improving drainage in 5 different areas across the city. There's now 364 days until the 2018 Winter Olympics kicking off in South Korea.
We're getting our first look at the games with a new torch being unveiled. The torch represents the altitude there of 700 meters above sea level and is designed so that the flame will continue to burn in changing weather conditions. 2018 will mark the second time the Olympic Games are staged in South Korea, which hosted the Summer Games in the capital of Seoul back in 1988. Well, still ahead on Daybreak, a 7-year-old in California doing his small part to make a big difference in the environment.
How Ryan's official recycling program got its start and the success he's already seeing next on Daybreak.
Talking about Winter Olympics and colder winter temperatures out there this morning. We'll talk about what you need to wear, how to bundle up, and when do we warm back up. I'll tell you next.